What is up, everybody? It's Jonah here with the Banking Bros, and today we're diving into the topic that, it sounds kind of boring, but wait, trust us, it's messing with your wallet way more than you actually think. The topic is tariffs.
And I'm JDew, and as co-host today, I'm going to help you understand that when you go to buy your phone and the J's and a banana, you might have tariffs that are jacking up the price.
Yeah, for real. Tariffs are basically silent price tags that they slap on imports, and it's not just politics. You might be thinking, tariffs have been in the news lately, the president and the cabinet and all of his party. It's not just politics. It actually directly affects your everyday purchases, and it directly affects the big picture of the economy. We think that's worth talking about.
Right. Government drama isn't the only part of it. We're going to break down what tariffs are, how they work, how they don't work, why you should care. And if you've never watched a single news report, this is going to give you the basics.
Yeah, so stick around. We are going global. We're talking strategy, and we're going to help you make sense of all of this tariff talk. So let's do it. Let's jump right in.
Number one, the definition of tariffs are taxes that are imposed by a government on goods imported from other countries.
Yep.
These are typically applied at the border. So when the ship comes in, literally, you remember Suez Canal back in the day? You remember that crazy time where the boat got stuck?
I don't remember a boat getting stuck.
You don't remember the boat got stuck?
Mm-mm.
Everybody remember. Comment if you remember when the boat got stuck.
I've been to the Panama Canal.
It was right before COVID, wasn't it?
The Panama Canal has a line of ships waiting. That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
I just assumed we figured things out by now.
That's how we figured it out.
There is a line
No,
of
that's
ships
how we figured things out.
right now. I wonder if they've got a webcam you can log into and
I think
see.
they do.
But there's a line of ships right now waiting their turn to get through the Panama Canal.
Yeah, that's how we figured it out.
It's
that was
crazy.
the point. Okay, so as stuff comes into the country, there's going to be taxes imposed on that, so it can be revenue for the government, but also so it protects the economy and the businesses that are local. Mm-hmm. That is a big part of it. If there's no trade going on and commerce happening because everything from everywhere else is cheaper, your economy is going to tank.
Yeah,
so
and that's kind of the purpose of what happened with the big tariff conversation, tariff talk. They got up pretty high, specifically on one or two countries in there, right? It was over 100%, but that's what the government was attempting to do, or that's what they said they were attempting to do even recently in 2025 with the talk of tariffs. It was to protect domestic industries from foreign competition by making things that you would import more expensive. And the thinking behind that was, one, if people are still going to import it, then fine, we're going to make more revenue for the government. There's been lots of talks about that, especially with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. The government's trying to cut costs. They're trying to raise revenue because we have this big trade deficit. So that was one thing. Like, hey, if you're just going to import it anyway, we're just going to make it really expensive, right? The second thing, of course, which they tried to say yay or nay, maybe not, but it was a little bit of political leverage, I think. Well, now we've got some opportunity to have some negotiations. Again, that's not what this episode is really about. What's most important, it was what they said they were doing was to encourage local production and consumption. So they were trying to say, hey, stop going to China, stop going to India, stop going to wherever you're going to get these goods and services, and foster United States local national growth. Bring your factories back over, employ our people. Don't go over to the Philippines and China and wherever, employ those. Bring it back, employ our people. That's what they were trying, or they said they were trying to do with the tariffs. So what's important to me is kind of how tariffs work, because before this year, if you asked me what a tariff was, I probably could have got close.
A tax?
Yeah.
I would have said that.
Yeah, but I didn't really know the deep dive into what it could be. And so if with all these talks in the last few months about them, we thought it'd be fun to kind of go in and make sure that our listeners know exactly what they are and how they work.
Okay, so once again, tariffs are taxes on imports, and it discourages then people to buy things from foreign manufacturers.
Yep.
That's the idea. They can widely be used on lots of things and parts of things, right? Lots of things that come over into our country are parts of things.
Yep.
And so there can be taxes on the commodity, like the steel, like the lumber, like the fruit or whatever. Parts of things, and you're going to put it into your smoothie later, but it's going to make it more expensive. So it encourages people, homegrown and locally, to take care of it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the types.
Yeah. So I didn't realize one thing before we get into types. I did not realize, one, that tariffs happen basically at the border. So legitimately meaning like they have the inventory on the ships that come over and they say there's 100,000 microchips in this thing. And
Container.
they go, in the container. And 100,000 microchips is normally whatever it is, $1 million. And they go, but 10% tariff, it's now 1,100,000. Like that's how it works.
Yep.
And I didn't, so that's why it was such a big deal. That's why I saw a bunch of news stories. Did you see any of these news stories of like the day before the tariffs turned on, Apple flew 3 commercial planes full of iPhones over from China? And I didn't realize it's legitimately because you land the plane tomorrow and the price is higher. Like, period.
Port authority right there. The airport, the ship port, the Coast Guard, whoever. I don't know who actually charges these things, but that's exactly how it works. I saw something the other day that the day before, Cuba, we had an issue with Cuba in the 60s.
Sure. Yep.
Right? Fidel takes over in 59. JFK takes over in 60. Okay. And there was a ban on imports at all. Trade with Cuba. I think it went into play 1962. The day before the president signs that law that goes through Congress that bans trade completely, he buys 10,000 cigars. The president? 100%. Because you can't do it tomorrow because I'm going to sign it or whatever. Well, I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was 1,200 or something. 1,200 cigar. Everybody knows a Cuban, right? A Cuban cigar. And
trying to sell them, trying to make a profit.
About 1,000 of them day before.
I also didn't realize that they place tariffs on different types of like product characteristics. So like, these are 100,000 ripe bananas, different tariff than these ones are seeds or something. Like it's a banana, a banana seed, a banana. No, different. And so that changes the way that people interact with, well, am I getting the seeds or am I getting the full thing?
100%.
I used to get the full things, but I can't afford the full things. I need to now go for seeds. So now I have to do business differently. Or
so now I might plant those seeds in America. So now there's jobs and workers. So that's a different style of thing.
So I didn't realize that. But there are different even types of tariff, which is also
this is new to me. This is me. So number one, Jonah, we've got the Ad Valorem Tariff. These are the most common and are calculated as a percentage of the value of the imported item.
So I think that's the most common one. I think that's the one that we've had more frequent. So if I'm not remembering, in the last few months, I know we've got a pause right now on tariffs at the recording of this podcast episode.
On what type?
No, I think on all tariffs.
Really?
Yeah, we've currently got a pause. We've currently got a pause on all tariffs. We had a pretty big tariff going on with China specifically. Again, my opinion on this is not fact. My opinion on this is because they were trying to negotiate, and
now the point of this was
at each other and just keep going.
And it was basically
up and up.
What if you're a casual listener and viewer to the news? It was an import on anything that came from them.
135%, I think it got up to.
Yeah.
But that one is no longer. Everything is paused. That one specifically was voted by Congress, court, whatever, as unconstitutional. Whatever law they used to pass that got turned down 3, 4, 5 days ago. That one does not exist anymore. And all the other ones had a pause. So there were like 2 countries, China and one other country, that had really high, over 100. Everything else got a blanket 10%. Every other country got a blanket 10%, and they've paused all of them. So I think the president went and paused the blanket 10%, and then the 2 countries got voted Congress courts that they couldn't do it. He used a law to say he could do it, and they said, no, you can't use that law. So they're not existent right now. Okay, so anyway, I think the Ad Valorem Tariff, where it's a percentage of the value, was the one that was blanket for everybody, 10%.
Okay. Gotcha.
But there are other types of tariffs. So there's also specific tariffs.
All right.
So these are just fixed
Fixed dollar amounts applied to specific quantities of goods, like $2 per kilo or something like that.
It's just a specific tariff. Again, if you are in the import-export business, if you've got business that gets things from overseas, then you're probably going to know this for sure. We've actually got a friend who imports shoes from Brazil. And I sat down and asked him about tariffs, and he said, yeah, they're there, and we're passing the savings right on to the customer, right?
There's only one person who can pay for it, and it's the customer.
Right. If it costs more to get the shoe over, then it's going to cost you more to buy the shoe. They're not going to leave the prices the same. Why would they do that? Right?
So that's why you see all these heist movies with people trying to avoid the tariff by strapping the items to their body. So you can, whatever it is, let's wear the shoes. Let's put them in a suitcase, you know, that type of thing, because then you're potentially not going to pay. But obviously, if you're doing large quantities and you're shipping over, like our friend shipping over 1,000 pair of shoes, you don't strap them to your body. Obviously, you don't wear them. Okay, so we've got some other definitions in here. Free trade versus tariffs. When a country imposes no tariffs, it engages in free trade. Out there, a trade surplus is occurring when a country exports more than they import. A trade deficit occurs when a country imports more than they export, which I think is the issue with the U.S. We import tons.
And we don't export it.
And we're not exporting nearly as much. I didn't know that for sure, but that's kind of how it works.
You hear it all the time talking about the trade deficit. So
I guess so.
That's what it is.
Right.
We import way. That's because we're consumer-based. We've talked about this in a few episodes or on a few lives recently. We're marketed to. We're consumer-based. We enjoy way more consumer good freedoms than the other countries do. And so because of that, we import things like crazy. Everybody wants to send their stuff that they can make for cheap or whatever to the U.S. Everybody wants to do that. So there are some impacts to you about these specific tariffs. Whether they're paused now, whether they're coming back, it does impact you. And the first thing that you, of course, know is increased prices. So imported goods, plain and simple, just become more expensive. And the manufacturers who are going to get hit with those tariffs are just going to pass the increased prices on to the buyers. And so the buyers end up paying both the new product cost and the tariff cost by definition.
They have to. Yeah.
So this is actually something. I didn't really get affected too much by a tariff, but it almost got me. Let me tell you kind of what happened. So there's a new gaming system coming out in a month. It actually comes out in 2 days now. It comes out on the 5th. It's the new Nintendo Switch 2. Well, I've got a little girl who's got a birthday during the month of June. So kind of on my radar, she really enjoys playing Mario Party. Okay. We play it all together as a family. They have a really good time playing it, laughing it up. Princess Peach, Bowser, you know the whole deal, right? We just enjoy playing it, right?
Peaches.
There we go. So I was thinking about getting this new Nintendo for her birthday. Okay. So it's being announced. They're putting out the pre-sales, whatever. They have a price. I think it was $450 for this new gaming system, right? Tariffs come out with China, and they stop all pre-sales. Cannot pre-sale, can't buy, can't reserve your Nintendo anymore. They go back on the price and go, so sorry, not $450, $550. If the tariffs are here and we release $550, and I'm going, excuse me,
wow,
like $100 more per machine.
Yep.
Right. And so I did not pre-order. I didn't do it. I was like, man, that seems like a lot.
Seems like she should do balloons.
Yeah. But anyway, I believe because the pause of the tariffs, they're back to $450, and they come out in a few days. Just in case you're listening,
better get it.
You got a birthday this month, or a kid with a birthday this month, and you want one of those Nintendos. Nintendo's directly from China or Japan or one of those countries, right? You probably know. And so if the tariffs come back and they're big like they were, you're probably going to see an increase on that specific item, like I saw an increase on that specific item. So now that I brought that up, maybe I need to go look into it again and see if that's what we're doing for her birthday. But
I think you do need to look.
Anyway, what about another impact, which is consumer burden, like fewer affordable alternatives?
Yeah. So if things get really expensive, competition changes, right? And that is probably something that in America we're most concerned about. Not just the price, but the competition changes, because in this country, we basically can get to a lot of stuff.
Yep.
We're definitely a consumer environment. We got Amazon. So what happens? Well, now I have to buy this one.
What it does
is the
is
one
it
that's
really
available.
hurts small
It gets
businesses.
here faster. Oh, 100%.
Small businesses are just shot because they can't afford to pay the higher costs.
Yeah.
And so big businesses, Walmart's, Amazon's, those type of things, right, can afford to pay it. They might not want to, but they can afford to pay it. And so all of a sudden, you don't have as many options. Now you're dealing with maybe some sort of purchasing monopoly. I can't get it like I used to get it. I have to go through these people. They're charging a little bit more, right? And it creates this big burden. And then, like I said earlier, it's really the local businesses, protection from the local businesses that are a big and huge deal, because if there's less competition, it allows the big businesses to raise prices, to increase market share. There's no more kind of competition. And I guess, do they call that? I was going to say they call that free trade, but no, they don't. But there's just less competition, and competition is what drives prices actually down, right?
Yes.
Competition drives it down.
Some people
if you have
don't
no competition,
understand that.
it drives it
Yeah.
up. And so that's a big impact of tariffs to us on everyday life.
Yep.
So,
Okay, Jonah. At this time, I think we're going to get into our quiz.
okay, I'm ready.
I have proctored an AI-generated quiz for you. It's the Tariff Throwdown. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, get your buzzer ready.
I'm ready. Let me see what I got here. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready, I think.
Play along with him at home, ladies and gentlemen. Here at the studio, I've got a set of multiple choice questions. Some are true or false, or some are fill in the blank about crazy, wacky tariff type situations over the course of America's history. Okay, it's the Tariff Throwdown here. And question number 1, everyone should know from history class. In what year did America first throw a temper tantrum over the tea tax tariff, and they dumped a load of it into the Boston Harbor? Yeah,
the problem is I don't know years. This is one of the categories that I'm so bad at, remembering how long ago that was or what year it was. So, was it 1776 that they did that? Probably not. It was probably a few years earlier.
Yes, you're correct.
So,
a few years earlier.
So, I don't know, 1773.
My man, got it.
Is it?
Well done.
Perfect.
Well done.
Feeling good.
Okay, very good. All right, here we go. In 1897, the U.S. placed a 20% tariff on what type of imported item because it was seen as too luxurious for the average American? Was it silk underwear, cat food, toothpicks from France, or fake flowers?
And what year was it?
1897.
Let's go with cat food.
It was D, fake flowers.
Oh, man. Too luxurious, huh?
Too luxurious.
Fake flower. You
That's
can grow
true.
them.
That's true.
But here's a fake one. Too luxurious. Okay.
Okay. In the late 1800s as well, buttons imported from where were taxed so high it spurred on a full black market. Buttons had a black market because the tariffs were so high in the late 1800s.
I'm going to go with France or Italy.
Germany.
Really?
Germany.
Buttons?
Yes.
It seems like France fashion, right? Italy, Milan. Seemed like that was good.
Yeah, that was a good guess, I guess. Okay, here we go. In 1930, the Smoot-Hawley tariff. I heard of this.
Smoot-Hawley tariff?
I heard of this. It must have been a thing in school.
I have not.
They raised the duties, tariffs, on 20,000 goods. Which of the following wasn't one of them? Grapes, alarm clocks, tar, jazz records. 1930.
Okay.
Grapes, alarm clocks, tar, jazz records.
Grapes.
It was jazz records.
Really?
Jazz records. That is
Man,
true.
I'm not doing so hot.
Okay.
1930 seemed like jazz time.
Okay. This one's fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Okay, you might have to get this one.
I'm not doing very hot.
I think you have a chance at this one. Somebody in the audience is going to get it.
Okay.
Let us know in the comments if you got this one. In 1983, okay, so this is around the time of my birth era, the U.S. tariffed what kinds of toys more heavily, depending on if they were considered dolls or if they were action figures?
Say the year one more time.
1983. What is starting to get popular?
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe is correct.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, yes.
Yeah. Dolls are action figures. That's G.I. Joe, right?
All right.
I almost said Barbie, but I was like, no, that's clear. That's a clear doll. Unless you're talking about Ken, then
it's true. It could go either way. I
don't know.
Okay, here we go. True or false? In 2018, the U.S. added tariffs to beard oil and electric razors as part of the trade war with China.
Beard oil and electric razors.
So this is Trump era one, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yep.
True or false?
Beard oils. Chinese don't have beards. Were we getting the beard oil from over there?
It's not about whether or not they had beards. You've heard that joke that
yeah, but they're the ones making it. That's why we're importing
it. But they make all sorts of stuff
that they make all sorts of stuff
for us, use, like literally in English. They don't know what it is.
I think that's true.
It is true.
Yeah,
it is true. Well done. All right, one more question here.
All right, I'm ready.
See what it is. This one's fill in the blank. Okay. 2002, France got salty when the U.S. added tariffs to what item, sparking the ridiculous renaming of French fries?
Potatoes.
That is correct.
Yeah.
You remember? French fries became freedom fries for a while. Did they? Yeah, you remember?
No, I don't remember that.
French fries disappeared for a couple of years. Oh, this is 2002. Yeah, this is when I was in high school.
No.
And French fries turned into freedom fries for a while because we had an issue with France.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you see, ladies and gentlemen, they actually do affect the things that you want and that you buy, like potatoes and G.I. Joes and maybe even your beard oil. So that is a little bit about how tariffs work and what they are. It's Tariffs 101. There's plenty of things that I learned in this episode, and maybe somebody out there learned it too, like our fan follow of the week, Dagan Wall. We're normally finding folks on our YouTube channel. We got a plethora of great content on YouTube, and we want you to check us out just like Dagan Wall has recently on The Banking Bros. So if you are there, find us there. We've got a visual of our podcast episodes. If you're not just listening and you're into watching what's going on, we want you to like and subscribe and find what we might call our mid-form and long-form content and explanations about what's going on as it leads toward your financial freedom. We want you to find us right there. And, of course, start at the Save and Spend System video where we teach you about the infinite banking concept. Shout out, Dagan. Let us know what's on your mind and put it in the comments and chat.
All right, y'all. That is a wrap on today's episode about tariffs. Those are those sneaky little taxes that are quietly raising their receipts.
And whether it's bananas from Belize or phones from China, now you know tariffs aren't just political buzzwords. They're baked into the prices that you are consuming every single day.
Can't really afford the phones getting more expensive from China. They're so
wild.
Expensive. They're
wild.
$1,200 right now for a phone. And then can you imagine if the new iPhone comes out and the tariffs come back at 130%? Can't do it. So don't forget.
I'm going to come over to your house. I'm not calling anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
tariffs
just gonna walk over.
aren't always bad, but if you're not paying attention, they can totally mess with your budget and your business and the global economy. And so we think you should pay attention to it.
So if you are interested in a conversation about how tariffs are affecting you personally or your business, make sure that you drop us a review, share this with someone, and let them know, hey, this is something we should be talking about with the Cash Compound and the Banking Bros.
Yep. You should also subscribe to this podcast, whether you're on YouTube watching it or whether you're listening to it in your favorite podcast app. Drop us a review if you like. Leave us a comment. You can share this episode with someone who still thinks tariffs are just, I don't know, pirate taxes. But anything you do, we would appreciate. Thanks to you so much for listening. We're the Banking Bros. Hopefully we brought you clarity, a little bit of comedy, and some cash smarts straight to your ears. We'll catch you next time.
This the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer. We taught you how to be the bank.
Next time you're in a trade war conversation, you can nod like a boss because you understand what's really going down. But if you don't, let's have a free cash consultation very soon and walk and talk through how in the world all these political buzzwords actually affect you and your personal economy. We encourage you to take control of the constant compounding that is available to you with age-old products in our economy right here in the US of A. Chat soon.